As we are in America, I'm going to share with you a short story when I came to America for the first time. Before I came, I went to see one of the leaders in Rwanda because I wanted some, words of wisdom before I could fly for the first time.
nongeye kuguha ikaze wo gukurikira Ibishya TV wowe wamaze gukanda kuri ako kantu ka subscribe kurikira amakuru n'ibiganiro bitandukanye tukugezaho twitwa Ibishya TV. Ngewe nitwa Nsazimana Jeremy. Uyu munsi inkuru cyangwa se muri amasaha inkuru ikomeje gucicikana mu Rwanda mu mahanga ni inkuru ijyanye na Rwanda Day, aho abanyarwanda inshuti z'u Rwanda n'abumva cyangwa se abavuga ururimi rw'Ikinyarwanda bakomeje gukurikira muri aya masaha. Mu bayobozi batandukanye berekeje muri Amerika i Washington DC, mu murwa mukuru wa Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika. Abayobozi batandukanye bavuye mu Rwanda harimo Minisitiri Utumatwishima Abdara, Minisitiri w'Urubyiruko n'Ubuhanzi, aho yatanze cyangwa se ari umwe mu batanze ibiganiro ku bitabiriye inama ya Rwanda Day ikomeje kubera i Washington DC. Mu byo yagarutseho cyangwa se mu magambo yashimangiye mu mbwirwaruhame cyangwa se speech yakoze, ni umunsi wa mbere y'urinde yerekeza muri Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika, aho yagarutse ku kuntu cyangwa se uburyo yagishije inama umwe mu bayobozi bo mu Rwanda ku bijyanye n'urugendo yari agiye gufata cyangwa se indege yari agiye yerekeza muri Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika. Mu buhamya yatanze ni uko yagiriwe inama yo kugenda akagera muri Amerika, ariko agirirwa inama yo kutazibanda kwiga ibijyanye n'ikiganga gusa, ahubwo kuzagerageza no kwiga ibijyanye n'iterambere ry'igihugu giteye imbere yayerekejemo, ibyo bakora ni na systeme bakoresha zitandukanye. Nibyo yagarutseho muri speech yakoze, ariko agerageza gusanisha iterambere rya Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika, uko yaganiriye n'abantu baho, aho bagiye bamujyaniza imijyi iteye imbere ndetse n'ibigo byateye imbere ibanga ryakoresha cyangwa se uri inyuma y'iryo terambere, aho mu Rwanda uwamuganije muri Leta Zunze Ubumwe za Amerika umunsi ku munsi, naho yagize ibyo avuga kuri Perezida Paul Kagame. Twumve speech yakoze, ibyo yabwiye cyangwa se ijambo yagejeje ku bitabiriye Rwanda Day in Washington DC.
And it's always great to be at the first time, and you are at the panel at the first time, and you are at the panel as a minister. It's not that. It's really something not to take for granted. It's big. It's historical. It's Rwanda at 30. You can get it. Another thing that is a little bit complicated with me is I've been speaking Kinyarwanda the entire life, and now I'm supposed to speak after gender in English, and so I'm going to represent all the people who speak this Kenya English, so you're going to excuse me. As we are in America, I'm going to share with you a short story when I came to America for the first time. It was in 2016. It was my first time to come to the US. I was coming for my pre-doc fellowship in the NIH, the National Institutes of Health. It's actually near here, it's in Bethesda. I was going to do diabetes epidemiology, but before I came, I went to see one of the leaders in Rwanda because I wanted some, words of wisdom before I could fly for the first time. And that leader told me, you are going to America, a strong nation, well developed, with economic power, when you go there to study your medical things, please study other things too. He actually told me, when you get out of the airport, start learning. And I told him what to learn, because I don't know the country. He told me, as a Rwandan, when you travel in a country like America, you have to learn everything they are doing. He even told me, when you go to the campus, in my case, when you go to the NIH campus, see how the NIH is built, examine the labs, the standards, the protocols. So when you come back home, you can apply both your medical skills, but also the entire ecosystem, the organization's culture, and other things. But when I arrived in America, as a young man, as a young doctor, as a young professional, I was really excited to this country. To tell you the truth, I saw it very developed, as they told me. Trains, buses, good cities. I was really amazed. And I asked the critical question to my supervisor: how does a country develop this much? Like, how do they do it? When I came, it was on the 4th of July. So it was the celebration of independence of America. It was the 4th of July in 2016. America was celebrating 240 years of independence. 240 years of stability. 240 years of peace. And when you see all these things, they have been built in the last 246 years. And we are just 30 years. You can see the difference. I think when we become 240 from the 30 we are today, it's going to be huge. Then I asked my supervisor, how does a country do this? How did America do this? She told me, you are not supposed to discuss history in a medical lab. Again, we have a disclaimer, we don't discuss politics in NIH. But I'm going to give you good advice. In all your weekends, go to Washington, D.C., and visit all these 15 museums, the Smithsonian museums that are here. For those who still have time, they have to visit the museums here in the D.C. And then visit Lincoln Memorial, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, Washington Monument, Martin Luther King Memorial, and if you have time, go to Maryland and even visit the Harriet Tubman. So I went to all of those places. And she told me, my supervisor, what did you get as a scientist? What do you get in those names I gave you? So Lincoln Memorial, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, Washington Monument. She told me, to do this, America had names, big names. Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman. And she told me, in order to do it in Rwanda, you need a name. And she told me, you have a name actually, Paul Kagame. She told me in Rwanda, in the last 30 years, you have a name. And that name will help you. It has helped you to build what you have already built, but that name will continue to help you to build even the generations to come. So there is always a name in a developed country. My supervisor even told me, if you go in other countries, go to Singapore, there is a name, Lee Kuan Yew. In any country you go, and she asked me, did you pass by Paris? I said no. But there is also an airport called the CDG. CDG is what? Is Charles de Gaulle. There is always a name behind a very developed country. And Rwanda, we have a name, guys. And that was number one. And then I asked her, but how do they build these big buildings, these convention centers, the universities, and these NIH? And she told me, here in America, there's a strong private sector, strong people doing business, another kind of model, different models of wealth creation. We have the Wall Street, the stock markets. She told me we even have the Silicon Valley for innovations. And she told me, if you want your country to be developed, learn some of the models we have here. Try to find an innovation hub in your country. Try to work harder with the wealth creation models and develop your private sector. That's one of the other things she told me. But then I asked her, it seems you have been very peaceful, no wars, no nothing. She told me, visit the Arlington National Cemetery. So she sent me to Arlington National Cemetery, and then I asked her, a big cemetery with the military graves. And I asked her, why do you want me to go there? And she told me, for a nation to be like this, to be peaceful for this long, 240 years, you need a strong military. You need a strong army that will protect your country inside and outside. And I told her that, as far as I know, in Rwanda, when you ask the population of Rwanda, who are you satisfied with? They will tell you 99.9% we are satisfied with the president. Next, we are satisfied with our military. And I think we are there. So to tell you what I learned in America, the only thing I kept asking, Ambassador, it's the wall in the border, on the neighboring countries, the wall. Like, you always have issues with the neighbors. So then I always ask, why, if you are developed, peaceful, strong, you want to build a wall? And the easy answer is, neighbors are always like that. So you need to... You need to always deal with the neighbors. When they are hungry, they will think you have taken their food. So, even if you are developed as America, you need to deal with your neighbors. So back home also, we have some issues of the neighbors, and I don't know. I don't know if maybe the ambassador with her diplomacy will try to correct this statement. But I want to tell you that for the young people, Rwanda at 30 means the name. I think you've got the name, right? We have to love our name, protect our name, cherish our name. And when we are in 2024, we have to remember our what? Our name.